Poseidon, the GOG, the god of gods, Poseidon, the representation of how gods should be. The most terrifying god in all of Ragnarok, I gotta say. I guess you could say maybe besides Odin, but besides, yeah, but not that ones we've seen actually, have a reputation. Yeah, everyone's afraid of Poseidon. All right, Poseidon is just that much of an intimidating god that he'll just skewer his own brother just because he doesn't see that he should be in his ranks until his retcon later on. But we don't talk about that around here. So yeah, Poseidon, an interesting character. We don't really get too much of his personality. What we do get actually speaks a lot about him. And before we get into his character, let me know what your guys' favorite and least favorite moments of Poseidon is, and also I'm gonna go on and say it. I don't know how y'all are gonna feel about it, but to me, in the writing sense, in the actual story, I think supports it. I honestly don't think we ever saw Poseidon go 100%. I think Poseidon is the only fighter in all of Ragnarok we've seen that did not go 100%. Because, well, okay, I'll say that to the end of the video. I'll explain why I don't believe that is. But for me, in the writing sense, I don't. I think the story does support it that Poseidon did not go 100% against Kojiro. I do think Kojiro did earn his victory. That's for sure. And it was too late for Poseidon to turn it around at the end. But I think in that entire fight, we did not see Poseidon go 100% whatsoever. But we'll get into that at the end of the video. So let's go chronological order in Poseidon's story. All right. Okay, let's do it. Because Poseidon, I like this guy a lot. He's a jerk, but I like it. All right, cut to the earliest time we the storyline aside from the flashback with Adamas, holding baby Poseidon. He's trying to look at baby Poseidon in the eyes. Baby Poseidon just kind of doesn't do it because even as a baby, he was a jerk. So yeah, Poseidon. It's even as a baby, even as a little child, he just refuses to look anyone really in the eyes. Even when Adamas would try talking to him, make conversation, Poseidon just no. Poseidon ain't about that. He's like, no, you're not worthy. Essentially, but yeah, Poseidon. He's a real jerk, but he does have his reasons for it, and it's nothing, like you really have to get to know him. It's like no, it's pretty obvious. He doesn't think you're worthy to be looked in the eye because he doesn't see it. And the only time he ever really does, we only ever see two people, well, three Adamas technically when he skewered them, but Hades and Kojiro. But Kojiro, kind of forced him into it because they're fighting, and Hades because he just has not much respect for his older brother, which is really good when we get to that part. But yeah, then the next time we see is with during the Gigantomachia with as all the Olympian highest gods, Zeus, Adamas, Ares. Well, he was there. Hades and Poseidon were all there getting together, discussing what their next plan of action was. And that's when Zeus is like, "All right, let's all go out. We're all gonna fight." Essentially, and then as Hades kind of goes off, Poseidon's like, "Where are you going?" Hades like, "Oh, pay me no heed. I got to go take care of some." And then Poseidon and the rest of his brothers, not including Hades, go takes on the giants, defeats the giants, and then Poseidon's like, hey guys, where's he's talking to Hades' man. He's like, hey, where's Hades? And they're like, oh, Hades went to go take on the Titans by himself. They broke out of Tartarus and they were trying to invade, but Hades went to go fight them. Poseidon goes talk to his brother. He wants to go see he wants to go check on his older brother, and yeah, Hades took care of it. He slaughtered all the Titans, and Poseidon was like, dude, I get what you're trying to do, right? But yeah, you could have lost and you could have died, and you could have had help come your way. That's when Hades was like, don't worry about that. I'm your older brother, and I will never lose because I've always got my brother's back, and that really earns Poseidon's respect. As Hades just falls back and says, "But I may have overdid it a bit." And Poseidon just kind of just sighs and reaches down. He's like, "You're, don't worry, brother. I gotcha." And then Poseidon or Hades like, "Wow, that's the first time you ever called me brother." And then they kind of grab each other's arms, to pick them up. And very good moment there with Poseidon. If it wasn't for that moment with Poseidon, I would give his character ranking probably a 7. I'll probably give him 7 out of 10. But as he is right now, I would give him 8 out of 10. Again, he's not very complex. I don't want to say simple, but he's like a slightly above simple compared to Lubu and Thor. He's above them. It's just a tier just because of the background story we had of him and Hades. I think that was just really good stuff there between them. And then we get also in that same flashback we get Poseidon where he does his whistle. He actually got it from Hades, which is actually pretty cool. That was a nice detail, which is interesting that we learned that it's like not needed, but it's nice to see that Poseidon got it from his older brother. That's good stuff there. And then we cut to Adamas and Poseidon. We all know what happens. Adamas tries to overthrow the gods. One with the gods, Zeus tries to overthrow them, but Zeus already knows all about this. He knows this is gonna happen. He wants it to happen because he wants to have a good fight. Because he had a good fight in thousands of years. But Poseidon essentially just stops all of that because Adamas just ain't fit to be a part of the Olympian gods. He skewers him, and again, it's retcon. We all know it's retcon. He let Adamas live. Like he skewered him and then just tossed him to the side, and Adamas is split in half. But like, come on, come on. Like that's like my biggest problem with all of Ragnarok. That retcon, but it is what it is. And yeah, Poseidon let him live. Well, it's obviously to serve the story for Hades of how great of a big brother he is. But we'll talk about that when you get to his character. Just Poseidon's character does revolve a bit around Hades because Hades just someone Poseidon really respects. And then we cut to the modern era where Kojiro and Poseidon fight. As Poseidon enters the arena, all the gods stand up and fear Poseidon, which was Zeus was just here. I guess you would say like hype, respect, partying for Zeus, and second Poseidon was fear. Remember that, guys, for when we get to Hades' video. And then we get to the Hades goes up, and then we get the conflict between them two, where Kojiro barely slices some of Poseidon's hair. Poseidon meets Kojiro in the eye, and then that's when Poseidon realizes, okay, I have to actually start trying a bit. Then he starts doing the jab attacks, and of course, Kojiro does get overwhelmed quite a bit by Poseidon. Poseidon just doing his jab attacks, which would be called, I am so sorry, Greece. Af Afeti Aferti Afeteri Afeteri. I am so sorry, Greece. I didn't know I was worse pronouncing your words than Japanese. Holy cow! I don't know why I just paused there. But yeah, essentially just a bunch of moves where he's just using essentially just a bunch of jab attacks essentially to just overpower Kojiro. And he's overpowering Kojiro, slicing the side of Kojiro. The gods start cheering for Kojiro. And Poseidon just kind of gives him a side eye. And all the gods just freeze up. And Kojiro's like, well, why don't you just take on their cheers? I mean, they're cheering for you. And Poseidon essentially just says, gods are born perfect. We don't accept cheers like that because we're born from the word go. The moment we are born, we're perfect. We don't need anything like that because we're good as we are. We don't need any support or anything like that. Because again, Poseidon does earn the title of God of Gods because for him, as he says, they're perfect from the word go. That's it. They shouldn't need backup. They shouldn't need help because they are the top of the gods. Poseidon is the top of the gods, and whatever he does, is what is expected of any god. And if they try to scheme, if they try to, manipulate, no, that's not good. Why? Because gods don't need to do that. And again, Poseidon is oh, free. Like, this is very interesting on his character because we don't get any other god like him at all in the rest of the series. So again, yeah, Poseidon is a very, very interesting character for this kind of stuff here. And then Kojiro starts. They both continue their fight, and as they continue their fight, Kojiro starts. Poseidon after Poseidon cuts Kojiro's weapon, and Kojiro's obviously surprised by that. And Poseidon kind of mocks him because Kojiro's kind of adapting more and more to Poseidon's attack. But Poseidon eventually just broke his sword, and Poseidon just kind of mocks him, saying, "That's why don't you like?" He just mocks him, saying like, "Why don't you seek glory, you little fish?" And Kojiro just kind of does that speech to him to Poseidon where he says, "You ever train so long at night that you didn't realize it was already morning? Did you ever just cry for the thankfulness of being grateful for the people you that have got you this far in life. Oh, that's right, you haven't. I love that speech from Kodro, and that kind of gets the Poseidon. That doesn't make Poseidon, get lose it or like he doesn't go. He never goes berserk like angry, like he just kind of flips out. He never does that. Not even when he's struck down, and I love that about Poseidon. That even when he's struck down, he doesn't flip out or anything. He just calls the Kodro, "You little fish," and then he just drops dead. But yeah, I think Poseidon when he died with dignity. He really did. Yeah, I threw a little insult, but I mean, yeah, he's perfect and the greatest loser took him down. What do you want? And then after Poseidon gets his two swords and starts, actually starts grazing Poseidon, Poseidon just gets all his blood and just kind of slicks his hair back, and he starts kicking it up a notch as he uses his attack. I'm so sorry. Cyclone Tidal Demeter 40-day flood. Again, that's a very cool. I love that name of that attack. Where he just completely creates a dome around the Kojiro and just starts attacking with so many jabs around Kojiro. And then when Kojiro just gets sunken deeper and deeper into the depths, he just thinks this guy's just. Anytime I just come close to this guy just shows me how further deep it is. But then he gets a morale boost by his friends, all his people he's met in his life, just cheering him on. And that's when he finally unlocks his new technique. We're just because the 10,000 moves ahead. He's just absolutely, Kojo just mastered it all. And he just starts slowly making his way past through all of Poseidon's jabs to where he right eventually just meets up with Poseidon face to face. Poseidon goes in for a strike and Kojo slashes it. Poseidon reaches out, grabs his hand. I love this part where Poseidon grabs his hand that's still holding the trident and just crushes it to just try to jab right at Kojiro, and Kojiro just slices it, and Poseidon grabs it with his hand, or with his mouth, sorry, and then he goes in right for the attack, and Kojiro just slices him, and right there, that's when all the gods around Valhalla were just utterly shocked by this. As Poseidon, all he says is, you little fish, and he just drops dead. And so, yeah, that's not really the end of Poseidon. It is, he's dead, But we do see him again in Hades' flashbacks. When Hades comes, he obviously came into the arena because he wanted to see he wanted to hear if his brother really lost, and unfortunately that news is true for him. And then he volunteers to fight in the next round because he to avenge his brother. Then when he goes fight Sun Shi Hung, he tells Sun Shi Hung, "So you remind me a lot of someone, but what makes a king for you?" And Sun Shi Hung, I believe he says, "A king never doubts, a king never surrenders, and a king always fights for his people." And yeah, Hades kind of laughs at that, and then Shinji Hung laughs at that too. But Hades is not laughing, like mockingly. He's like, yeah, you really do remind me of my brother. And then Poseidon, just Hades reminding that moment of Poseidon reaching his hand out for Hades. Then Hades gets his weapon, which I also love. This. I almost forgot about this part, but one of Poseidon's servants comes up to Hades to to get revenge for Poseidon, and Hades is like, yeah, we don't do that, but I'll take I could take this as a memento though. He gets Poseidon's trident and merges it with his bite, and he has like that guard on it that's from the trident, and he gets it. Then we see him later on in the tournament where he gets it, and he just drills right into his chest just to spill all his blood. And he starts doing the whistle that Poseidon learned from him. And again, that's pretty cool stuff. That I really like that. And then the last time we see Poseidon is when Brunhilde is going back into her room as we see a bunch of holograms of the fighters that died, and we see Poseidon where it says Pride. So yeah, that's the last time we see Poseidon. So yeah, again, I kind of give away what my I rated Poseidon as a character. He's an 8 out of 10. Also, well, before I say why I don't think Poseidon went 100%, let me just say my favorite and least favorite moment of Poseidon is favorite moment. It's just him not caring. It's just him, just like like yeah, like him, just just thinks true to his character, even to his dying breath, where he's like, yeah, I lost. Well, freak, but I lost. But yeah, a bit cheating, yeah, but just him, his personality, where he's like, he'll just stick to his way, no matter what. My least favorite moment for him would be that retcon. Come on, I get it's not. It was a retcon. Let's face it. Him letting Adamas live. and he Adamas survived. That was a retcon. Oh, that was crap. I'll admit it. It's crap. Working Ragnarok's lowest point, but it is what it is. All right, now let me make my case on why I don't think Poseidon went 100%. Well, again, as we all know, Poseidon is the god of gods, the God, and Poseidon, not even having to try to take down his own brother, right? He just jabbed, took him, killed. He just took him out and swung his trident and just slammed Poseidon or Adamas to the wall. And according to Poseidon's words, there's only ever been 12 Olympian gods. There's never been a 13th. And his words, that's it. You listen to it. That's the way Poseidon is. So let me tell you guys, would it make sense for Poseidon to actually try 100% against a human? It really doesn't make any sense. And the only time we ever see Poseidon get slightly well, I guess he does get slightly serious is when he's doing actually name techniques against Conjuro. But when we actually see him, his muscles kind of he's slightly bulged. They don't get him like pretty big like we see with Hades or Zeus. Or when Hades used when his muscles got bigger to just dig into his chest or just to do a massive thrust right at Shinshi Hung. And Zeus obviously Zeus is massive. That's his thing. The Poseidon, I don't think we ever saw him. I don't think we ever saw him give 100%. Because again, why would he? He never had to give 100% against other gods, so why would he do that to a human? And again, most of his attacks just jab, 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 jab. We could see he could control water. He never does that, but I assume it's because well, it'd be too unfair, which it kind of would be, to be honest. Like why would you fill the whole entire arena? It just wouldn't be fair. So I could accept that he wouldn't use water, because too unfair. But I do believe that within Poseidon's character, he would never go 100%. He would never go 100% against a human, especially even if he never did it against a god. Even when we saw him fight against the giants, he was not even tired. He wasn't even scratched. And all we saw him do was just jab, jab, jab. So yeah, so that's usually all it takes to take down anyone that he's ever come across. But in this fight, Kojiro it took more than just jabs to try to take him down, and Kojiro just closed the gaps and beat him. Because again, as we saw throughout the story of Poseidon versus Kojiro, Poseidon would always just slightly amped up his aggression and just sent Kojiro just crashing so much farther down until Kojiro eventually adapted to be able to overcome Poseidon. Now it's a different story if you ask me if Poseidon lived and they fought again, who would win. That's a different story altogether. That's actually a good debate. Would Poseidon actually, would he go 100%? I believe, yeah, he would this time. And that would be very interesting to see a rematch because I think that'd be a very, very close rematch. But yeah, for me, Poseidon never went 100%. And we'll never see that. But as I said before, it is what it is, and that's just within Poseidon's character. So I can't argue with that. So yeah, anyways, that just concludes my Poseidon video. So if you guys watched this far, I greatly appreciate it. I can't wait to see what your guys' favorite and least favorite moments of Poseidon is. So anyway, you guys take care and have a good one. Later.